Hi, my name's Dave Buckley, and I have your student for advisory class this year. Just wanted to share with you a few things about me. I've taught for 15 years in Quincy. I've got my bachelor's degree and my master's degree from Eastern Illinois University, and my wife's a theater teacher and an English teacher at the high school. And with that, the theater teacher, I get to build sets and design lighting and that kind of stuff for the high school theater program. And so if I'm not at junior high doing my work here, I'm over at the high school doing a lot of work there after school and on the weekends. This year, obviously, will be a little bit different because of COVID, but typically we do spend a lot of extra time doing that. Okay. I've got a daughter who's 4 years old, and she takes a lot of time and energy from my wife and I, and which is a good thing and a bad thing. But love her to death, and wouldn't change anything about it other than wish we got to spend more time with her. Sometimes the theater program takes us away from her, and if we want to spend time with her, she gets to come to the high school with us, and we get to see her do some of the theater stuff with us. So if I have free time, I do love to watch and play any kind of sports. I enjoy working on cars with my family and just working on house projects or helping other friends and family with their own house projects. As far as advisory goes this year, big thing students should be doing in the morning is just coming in and eating breakfast if they would like to eat breakfast. They should be checking the homework website. They should be logging into Microsoft Teams. A lot of times we do our communication back and forth with students through Microsoft Teams. They can check to see if there's any missing work in Microsoft Teams. They can also check Skyward, check email, all of that kind of stuff, just getting ready for the school day. Technically, kids can report to the room at 7:25 this year. So between 7:25 and 7:45, that's kind of their time to do what they need to do. And then, if they get there at 7:45, then they have until 8 o'clock to continue doing those things. Ask me questions, for any other classes. I can help them with all classes. I obviously teach math, but I can help them with any of the problems that they're having at school, any issues on buses, any sort of information that you would need from me or that they need from me. They can make appointments with counselors and that kind of stuff during the morning. So there's a lot of just kind of maintenance and housekeeping things that are done in the morning. One of the big things we have to do is make sure we take attendance and lunch count, obviously. So we just, say what's there for lunch, for hot lunch, and then cold lunch. Or most of the kids in class actually this year bring in their own lunch. I usually only have maybe 5 to 7 kids that are actually eating the school lunch. Okay, so that's kind of the morning routine. And then after morning, this is when first, second, third, fourth, and fifth hour would come next, which I leave the room and the other teachers from our team come in and they will teach them the different subjects. So I'm going to skip that part. Once I teach them math for fifth hour, we would then transition into the lunchtime. Lunch, I believe it officially starts at like 11:55 and goes to 12:35 or 12:40, I want to say. And students, if they brought their own lunch, they can go ahead and start eating right away. So we're kind of scattered and staggered that way. Most people do bring their own lunch, or there's a few students that may not even bring anything other than a little bit of a snack. But anytime that the student is eating, they do remove their mask. And so I ask that they're staying quiet during that time until they finish their food. And then once they finish their food, they can put their masks back on and they can continue talking to the people around them. This year is a little bit weird because we can't, be out of our seats and that kind of stuff because of COVID. I'm actually fairly strict on that. Unfortunately, my father has cancer. And so during this time, I actually sit at my desk, and while their masks are off, I try to stay as far away from the students as I can, just to kind of protect myself and be able to still go see my dad. Um, so it's not ideal by any means, but so far the students are really, really, really good at doing the mask thing and helping me out. They know it's a bad situation for everybody, but they've been really respectful of my particular situation and showing me a lot of respect in doing what they've been asked to do. So I appreciate that. When the students finish up, trash is placed in large trash cans outside of the classroom. That's on an individual thing, so one student gets done. I ask that they don't go together in groups and that kind of stuff, obviously. There's a trash can between each and every room, basically, and so they just walk out, throw their stuff in the trash can, come back in, make sure their mask's on when they do that. And then students can use the time at their own discretion. They can, get on a cell phone. They can do that kind of stuff. They can play a game. They can work on school stuff if they choose. But it is basically their time, as long as it's school appropriate. I'm not going to get on them. As long as, like I said, they're staying in their seats, they're wearing their masks appropriately. And really, we've had very, very, very little issue with that this year. And I appreciate that. After lunch, they would go to a special. Our specials kind of rotate every year, or not every year, every week. And so they have computer class, they have PE, they have art, and they have health. And so we rotate those every week. And that's what they would do right after lunch. And then they come back to me for the afternoon advisory, which starts at 1:30. So from 1:30 to 1:55, students can, again, check their homework website, check Microsoft Teams, check their email. We put up on the board our team weekly schedule. And so I talk to them for, 5 minutes or so of, okay, what'd you guys do today in history? What'd you do in your next class? What's homework? What's not homework? What do we still have to finish up? And we go through all of that. And then, of course, I'm there in the room and help them with any subjects that they have and just try to facilitate them getting everything done before they have to go home. About 1:55, we start packing up, get our desks cleaned up, get our laptops put away, clean off our desks, and get things organized and ready. And then about 2:05, a lot of times, Mr. Owsley comes on the announcements, starts releasing sixth graders, and then he'll either release the seventh graders or the eighth graders next. And so I walk them out the door and down the nearest stairwell, which for us is the northwest corner. And if you ever need to pick up a student or anything like that right after school quickly, the closest spot for you to get them is at 14th and Main. And then once they're outside, obviously, they're on their own, and we will see them the next day. So I appreciate you guys taking the time to watch this. And if there's anything I can do, any information you need, anything like that, please feel free to give me an email at buck1031 at qps.org. And again,